agents are not the end-all be-all for everything. Now, they're really good, and there are many workflows where you want to go agentic, but there's still a lot of it that has to be deterministic, and I recommend that you try to do it in a deterministic way. I'll explain what that means. If you have an agent that is all written in Markdown and you give it instructions, it might do a very good job of what you're asking for. So if you are using it to draft your emails, if you're using it to draft documents or social media post text, copy, etc., yes, you might have a skill, you might have a set of skills that you created, and then every time you can just give it a topic and it'll know what to do, and it uses its strengths as a large language model to create this text. Then you might even want it to then push that information somewhere else, and that is where you want to make sure that it's deterministic. Deterministic means that there's code involved. You might have JavaScript code, you might have PHP, you might have Python, and this underlying code will ensure that the agent is doing exactly what you want it to do every time. So especially anything that's going out of your computer or that's sending or that is creating or deleting for information or data, you want that step to be deterministic and have the right checks so that in case there's an error, in case there's ambiguity, it knows how to handle it. For example, let's say you want to create something that at some point in the process will generate an image. Well, if you just give it that instruction, then sometimes it might do a good job, but then sometimes it will do something else, or it might try to install another library to take care of something. Whereas if you have a deterministic flow with code that it knows to use as a tool, then at that point, it will always follow that path. And you can even have fallbacks. You can say, generate images always using Nano Banana Pro. But if that's not available, then just use another version of the Gemini image creator. If that's not available, then use OpenAI. But you can tell it what to do, or if there's an error, what to do instead, where to log it. You want to have these deterministic steps so that your agent always behaves, as much as possible, in the right way. And I really liked how Nate B. Jones put it the other day. He was saying that if you just want the LLM to do everything, some people do this, the problem is, the example he gave was, it's like you're ripping out a railroad and then putting your train on the ground and saying, kind of go that way. And I thought it was a great example because that's just it. If you don't give it any rails, if you don't put any guardrails on your agents, then they will sometimes do the things right, but then other times they'll do just the craziest thing because they have the freedom to do so. So guardrails are important. Make sure you structure your inputs and outputs. Make sure you have contracts for the code. And if you don't know what I'm talking about and you are using agents, talk to your Claude or your ChatGPT or your Gemini about it. Just ask it, how can we ensure that this process is maintained? How can we make sure that it's repeatable? How can we make sure that we can run tests against this? And it will explain it to you. And in some cases, some of these better models, the higher end like Opus 4.6 and GPT Codex 5.4, they will preemptively sometimes even do it for you. They will create the code for those steps because they know that that's good practice. But if in case they don't, just ask them. Say, I want this to be deterministic wherever code is involved, wherever things have to go out of the system, whenever I have to delete or transform data in any way, I need that to be deterministic. How can I do that? And it will help you. It can write all the code for you, and you can have, if you don't trust it, you can have another agent read the code and explain it to you, etc. But that way you can even have tests that are automated that can go and rogue through. They could do smoke tests. They could make sure that that code will be valid at the point in time where you actually need to run it. So that's what I wanted to share. If you haven't, please, if you enjoy the content, like and subscribe so that you see all these videos as they come out. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer them all. Cheers.